Suburban Underground, bringing what's on the underground up to service.
Yes.
And we have the executive producer, Brian Ward here, aka DJ StereOtype. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
You look great.
No, you look great. You
look
great.
This whole thing.
You look still in form, and you're there doing dance routines. You're singing. You're executive producing. You're ordering everyone around. She's like, yeah. You're just like like the queen bee of this place. You define a stereotype. You're called DJ StereOtype. Define stereotype.
Like the meaning of the name? Okay, so I came up with stereotype because I feel that music is a universal language. Mm-hmm. So if I'm the type that you listen to in your stereo, if you would only listen, you'd understand. So that's what it really means.
What would your type be?
I'm all types.
Keeping it clean though, this is a family show. What is your type?
My type of what?
Music.
Oh, okay.
Your makeup artist over there, she's laughing. Your makeup artist who keeps you intact, she's laughing. Keep it clean now. Tell us about your type of music.
I love all types of music. I'm come from the era of the superstar, okay? So it was Michael, it was Janet, it was Madonna, it was Prince, it was Mariah. It was like, you know, your talent could sustain you to a point where your fame was justified. And now I feel like
it was actually real.
Yeah.
It wasn't like fake views.
Exactly.
Someone in Ethiopia, you know, recycling that video for you.
Exactly.
So you're talking about highlights and that type of stuff. Can you tell us, the viewers watching right now, what has been your highlight of your career so far?
In the sense of feeling accomplished, I really don't. I mean, I've done a lot of cool things, but I don't look at any of it and think, oh, you know, I've arrived because I interviewed so-and-so or I did this gig. I think that for me, the work that I do it's more gratifying. And the struggle of my early career has really been promotions and social media because I'm such an artist. I'm not a media person. So I'm very much about creating
and standing there looking at your view counts or trying to get likes. You know what I mean?
So it's weird because I feel touched when somebody sees a show or when someone sees a video that I've produced or, you know, and they say that they relate to it or it's brought them some sort of joy or they saw themselves in it. That's honestly very gratifying for me.
Yeah.
So it's more that I can't say, oh, like that time that I was, you know,
on the Riviera.
Yeah, no.
Having breakfast with Madonna.
Which I've done some of that stuff, you know, but.
But it is gratifying.
It's cool, yeah.
That's what I like about you because you're humble. You know, before we started the shooting, you were like, you gathered us all into a room and you thanked all of us. You weren't like a diva in a different room, not with the cast. You know, you thanked the whole production and the whole cast of, you know, coming together. But, you know, so even the viewers can even go online. You know, you can go to the YouTube and check out like some of the old seasons of SubUrban Underground.
Please don't.
When you're putting that lady in her place, he's putting this lady in her place. She's like a bona fide actress, and you're like, well, you know, you've only been around for like the last 10 minutes, but I thought you were really, really cool on screen.
Well, you know,
and she's like, I haven't been around.
Well, you know what the beautiful thing about that period of my career is that I was completely clueless, and there's something very empowering about that.
Organic.
Before you become industry standard and before you become molded and trained, there's something so open and liberating, and I would really go into those interviews having no, you know, formal journalism training and just say anything, and it was crazy because they liked it.
Because
you know what I
It
mean?
was real. You weren't reading off an auto cue or some dummy cards.
Yes.
So, you told us what's coming up next. What do you do to relax? Because you've got so many balls going on, not to be graphic, you've got so many balls going on. You've got so many balls to your bow and so much stuff going on. You know what I mean? What's next? You know, what do you do to relax?
I write, funny enough. I'm always working because I love what I do. Yeah. You know? So, I mean, I like to go out and have fun and have a drink with a friend or whatever, but really, I love rehearsing. I love, you know, listening to music and rehearsing and writing, and that whole process is fun for me.
You know, you have a distinctive style. You know, there's no one else out there, you know, who's around, who's looking at you. Tell us about your distinctive style.
I love show business. I think that if you are going to put on a show, you better goddamn commit to that show and put one on.
Of course.
I think that something interesting happened like in the 80s and 90s. It became cool for men to put as little effort into their look as possible. Like with hip hop and like grunge, it became like not only like sort of, okay, it became like cool to sort of be like low maintenance. But if you look at guys like Elton John, David Bowie, Little Richard, Prince, Michael Jackson, Rick James, like they all put on costumes when they performed.
Especially Bowie, Ziggy Stardust.
They all had characters, and it was a part of their art. And so I think it's interesting to me, you know, I got on the train the other day, and someone had a Rolling Stone magazine with Kiss on the front cover. And these guys have hair out to here, fucking heels, makeup, body, you know, cat suits and everything, and nobody really thinks twice about it. But, you know, a young man of color does it, and it's like, oh my God, it's so crazy, it's so weird, what the fuck? You know, so I'm all about, you know, I'm all about presentation. So it's a part of the gig. I think it's just as much as you
bring it to a whole new level.
And I also wanted to say this, you know, it's interesting to me that back in the day that a man could dress up, and it wasn't necessarily a reflection of his masculinity or his sexuality. You know what I mean? It's so interesting. I think we talk oftentimes about the oppression of women's sexuality, but there's a flip side to that coin where I feel like men are really, really almost petrified to explore and try different things and new things because our society says, you know, well, if you do that or if you wear that, then you must be. And I don't think that it's the case. You know?
I love the way you're bringing on that whole element of like taking the music, but then also like showing it in different aspects, which is like your career. It's like videographer, it's DJ, it's performing artist. So tell me, what are your views about being, you know, living in reality, living in New York as a performing artist?
Oh, you know, I love it and I hate it all at the same time. You know, there's no place else in the world where I feel more supported. There's no place in the world that I feel more like I can make something happen. You know what I mean? There are places in the world that are just places even in America that are so slow. Like people just they don't connect. They're lazy. You talk about trying to do something, they're like, oh yeah, let's do it, and then they're not really about that life. So I feel like New York is a great place to really work. It's a great place to come and to create whatever you want to create.
Around the clock, 24/7.
Whatever lifestyle you want to create, whatever look you want to create, whatever persona you want to create, please believe that you can do that here. And that is what I love about New York. What I don't like about New York is that I think that it's so freeform that to me there's really no industry standard. Whereas, like, you can go to LA and it's like, okay, this is your contract, this is your pay, this is what we're doing. We're not fucking around. We're not doing this just to do it for the art. We're doing this because it's a business. I feel like that business set of ideals is not as common in New York. So it's like, you know, you could do a trillion amazing things. Like, oh, I did a yoga retreat for monks and we danced, and then I took a pole class, and then I painted my body and walked on Times Square. But like, did you get paid for any of that?
But you know, we're on a show talking about art, and I'm sure if a lot of us were in this business for the money, then we would have gone and worked for Goldman Sachs. You know what I mean? In a 9-to-5 job. But we're here for the love of the art.
Right. But this is the issue. I think that a lot of people exploit that we love our art.
So we get exploited.
It's messed up. As you can ask any of these musicians over here, these bars that we play in, these gigs that we do, they don't respect us. They don't respect what we do. They don't give us what we deserve because there's a trillion bands that will play in your shitty bar for free here. There is no standard that says you must pay for my art. It's just give your art. And then on top of it, it's like half of the stuff that you see here is a hot ass mess because it's just like, okay, we're very forgiving as New Yorkers.
Really?
To art.
New Yorkers are?
We are. We're very forgiving to art.
I thought no one's got time to forgive you. Everyone's in a rush.
Well, in personal matters. But
whereas in LA, everyone's like, oh, we forgive you. Don't book them again.
Well, we're very forgiving.
You've done a great job. Don't book her.
We're very forgiving in the sense that we don't like to judge people's expression. So it's like, oh, if she wants to vomit paint and roll around in it, that's her
That's so art.
vision. No, bitch, that's not art. You just vomited. Get off the stage.
No, but it's the person.
Me.
But it's the person who's defining the art.
And it's that mentality that I'm talking about. Like, yes, you can define your art, but do not throw up on a stage and tell me that's show business. I'm sorry. It's not show business. It's nasty.
It is show business. Everybody wants to be skinny, so you got to throw up.
We allow in New York. It's very like, oh, it's okay. It's art. Whereas like if you do that in Atlanta, it'd be like she's nasty. She'll never work in this town again. You know what I mean? You do that in LA, and it's kind of like, oh, girl,
it's the
really?
norm. It's the norm.
So
you skinny.
I do think that New York is. There's a lot of foolishness going on here, and I don't like that because I feel like for all of the foolishness and fuckery that you're doing on stage, it makes it harder for me and my people to do something of substance and quality. You know what I'm saying? So that's my peeve.
So you think that substance and quality like rules, and that's what leads the way to success?
Yeah, I think that having a solid concept and seeing it through and becoming
that helps. Having a solid concept helps.
And seeing it through, I think
something really solid.
I think commitment is an issue with a lot of people. A lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm an actor, I'm a singer," and then you figure out, "Oh,
you're just a hipster.
This is what we have to do in order to be
You're
successful."
Just a hipster. Living the life.
Yeah, it's a commitment and seeing. This is a project 5-6 years in the making, and I'm still at it. The same thing with my film Colors. It took me 7 years to get to the point where I was ready to shoot a trailer for it. But I've never given up, you know what I mean? And I think that it's that work and that's persistence that will make you successful. But in terms of New York City, New York is unrelenting in the sense that it doesn't make anything necessarily easy. It presents options.
Yes.
But it's like, oh, well, you better work for all these options that we're laying out for you, you know?